Welcome to Silent Crime Case, where we unravel the most chilling mysteries that have slipped through the cracks of quiet towns. Today, we bring you a story that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about trust, faith, and the secrets people keep. Nestled in the tranquil hills of Vermont lies Hollowdale, a town seemingly untouched by time. But beneath its postcard-perfect facade brews a darkness so sinister it would tear apart the very fabric of this close-knit community. At the heart of this tale is St. Elias Chapel, a beacon of faith, or so it seemed, when Eleanor Beckett, a beloved member of the town, vanished without a trace. Her absence left an unsettling void. 5 days later, the horrifying discovery of her lifeless body within the chapel, a place of sanctuary, shattered Hollowdale's peace forever. Was this a random act of violence, or did Eleanor uncover secrets someone was desperate to keep hidden? Detective Olivia Wren's investigation would unearth a tangled web of deceit, greed, and betrayal. From cryptic journals and mysterious figures to the stunning fall of a revered community leader, this story dives into the heart of darkness lurking just below the surface. Stay with us as we peel back the layers of this case. Was justice truly served? And what other shadows might still linger in Hollowdale? This is a tale of silent crimes that refuse to stay buried. Nestled in the serene hills of Vermont lay the quaint town of Hollowdale. Life here was tranquil, its rhythms dictated by the church bells of St. Elias Chapel, a historic stone structure that stood as the town's soul. Every Sunday, townsfolk gathered to hear the sermons of Father Caleb Mortimer, a respected figure known for his unyielding moral compass. His words carried weight, shaping decisions that extended beyond the spiritual. Yet, behind his unwavering demeanor, no one could foresee the darkness that would soon envelop the town. A central figure in the community was Eleanor Beckett, a 32-year-old with a nurturing spirit. Her presence lit up Hollowdale, from organizing Sunday school to assisting the elderly with their chores. Eleanor's acts of kindness made her beloved by all, yet her life took a chilling turn when she vanished on a foggy November morning. Days passed and worry turned to fear. Eleanor was missing, her usual cheery voice absent, her home eerily untouched. What began as an innocent search for Eleanor would spiral into a nightmarish revelation. 5 days later, her lifeless body was discovered within the church itself, a brutal murder that desecrated the very sanctity of St. Elias Chapel. The air of trust that once bound Hollowdale began to unravel. The townsfolk, stunned, whispered in hushed tones, their gazes filled with suspicion and dread. For Detective Olivia Wren, a seasoned investigator with a sharp mind, this case was unlike any she'd encountered. As the lead detective, she couldn't shake the eerie feeling that this crime was deeply symbolic. A grotesque message scrawled across the sacred walls of Hollowdale's cherished chapel. Every creak of the ancient floorboards and every shadow cast by the stained glass seemed to hold a secret. The question lingered: who could commit such an atrocity in the heart of a place meant to symbolize hope and peace? As Olivia surveyed the dim church halls, she realized this murder was more than a crime. It was a deliberate act to unearth the town's darkest secrets. Behind the town's tranquil facade lay buried grievances, and Olivia knew uncovering them would shatter Hollowdale's peace forever. The morning of Eleanor Beckett's discovery was bitterly cold, frost blanketing the cobblestone paths leading to St. Elias Chapel. Matilda Harris, the church's diligent caretaker, arrived early to prepare for the day's services. Upon entering, an unnatural silence greeted her, a silence that made the air heavy and oppressive. Matilda was accustomed to the peaceful stillness of the chapel in the early hours, but this silence was different, unsettling. Calling out to Eleanor, Matilda's voice echoed unanswered through the grand arches. As she proceeded deeper into the church, Matilda's steps faltered. The faint glow from a half-open door led her to the vestry, a room usually filled with quiet prayer and planning. Inside, the horrific sight rendered her breathless. Eleanor lay sprawled on the cold stone floor, surrounded by scattered hymnals and shattered candlesticks. Bloodstains marred the ancient tapestries, and a large iron cross rested ominously nearby, smeared with crimson. Matilda's scream reverberated through the hollow corridors, drawing the attention of passers-by. Within minutes, the church was cordoned off and the police swarmed in. Detective Wren arrived soon after, her calm composure masking the storm of thoughts racing through her mind. Her trained eyes took in every detail: the blood splatter patterns, the placement of the cross, and the absence of signs of struggle. The crime scene bore a deliberate quality, as if staged to convey a message. The townsfolk began gathering outside, their murmurs of disbelief mingling with the wailing sirens. Olivia knew the significance of this crime extended far beyond its brutality. Eleanor had been a beloved figure. Who could harbor such hatred? The positioning of her body, coupled with the deliberate placement of the bloodied cross, hinted at something far more sinister than a random act of violence. This was no mere murder. It was a performance crafted to send a chilling message. As Olivia examined the scene, she noted the strange absence of a struggle. Eleanor's serene expression contrasted with the brutality of the act. What had brought her here that morning, and why had her life ended in such a grim tableau? These questions haunted Olivia as she began piecing together the fragments of a story steeped in shadows. With the evidence in hand, she knew this case would unravel the very fabric of Hollowdale. As news of Eleanor's murder spread, Hollowdale's picturesque charm began to wither under the weight of unease. Doors that once remained unlocked now bore heavy bolts. Whispers of speculation filled the air, each more sinister than the last. For Olivia, every detail of Eleanor's life was a puzzle piece to be examined. Eleanor's close friend, Joanna Marsh, was the first to be interviewed. Trembling with emotion, Joanna described Eleanor's recent unease. She started keeping to herself, Joanna stammered. She stopped confiding in me, and there were moments she seemed haunted. Yet her insights hinted at something deeper. Joanna mentioned a series of late-night visits Eleanor made to the church, her tone laced with suspicion. Meanwhile, Father Caleb Mortimer's demeanor became a point of scrutiny. To some, he remained the paragon of faith, but Olivia's intuition whispered otherwise. His composed exterior seemed too measured, almost rehearsed. When questioned, Caleb admitted to seeing Eleanor the evening before her disappearance. They had discussed church finances, a conversation he claimed ended on a positive note. Yet his alibi prayer at the chapel lacked corroboration. Among the parishioners, rumors began to swirl. Some whispered of clandestine meetings Eleanor had attended, while others hinted at her uncovering financial discrepancies within the church. Olivia noted the mounting tension. Suspicion spread like wildfire, threatening to consume anyone caught in its path. Each whispered theory painted a different suspect, and each accusation brought new cracks to Hollowdale's fragile facade. Matilda Harris, the church's caretaker, reluctantly shared a troubling observation. She recalled hearing Eleanor and Caleb arguing in hushed tones a week before the murder. She accused him of hiding something, Matilda revealed, her voice trembling. But I didn't know what she meant. For Olivia, the threads of suspicion wove a tapestry of doubt. Eleanor's disappearance had not only fractured the community, but had also begun to reveal the darkness that lay hidden beneath Hollowdale's peaceful exterior. Olivia's challenge was clear: to untangle these threads without further unraveling the town's fragile unity. The church, once a sanctuary, became a fortress of dread. Matilda Harris, reeling from her discovery, revealed to Olivia a troubling observation. She had overheard Eleanor and Father Caleb in heated discussions on multiple occasions. Though their words were muffled, Matilda recalled Eleanor's unmistakable tone of defiance. She accused him of betraying the congregation, Matilda shared hesitantly. But I didn't know what she meant. As Olivia dug deeper, she discovered Eleanor had been meticulously documenting her suspicions in a hidden journal. This journal, found tucked away in a hollowed-out pew, contained cryptic notes, fragments of accusations involving financial misconduct, and an ominous mention of a shadow that follows. The entries were disjointed, but painted a picture of someone increasingly paranoid and under pressure. The journal's final entry sent chills down Olivia's spine. If something happens to me, look to those closest to the church. The truth lies in shadows cast by light. This revelation painted a chilling picture. Eleanor knew she was in danger. But why hadn't she come forward? And who had silenced her? With each passing day, the line between victim and villain blurred, and Olivia found herself questioning the very foundation of faith in Hollowdale. Meanwhile, Lisa Carter, Eleanor's former confidant, emerged as a central figure in the investigation. Unlike Joanna, Lisa's support for Caleb remained steadfast. Father Caleb would never hurt anyone, she insisted. Yet her unwavering defense of him raised eyebrows, especially as whispers spread about her closeness to the priest. Lisa's faith in Caleb contrasted sharply with the growing mistrust around him, adding another layer of complexity to the investigation. Olivia couldn't ignore the possibility that Lisa's loyalty was rooted in secrets of her own. Hollowdale's once harmonious community fractured under the weight of Eleanor's murder. Allegiances shifted as whispers turned into confrontations. Some steadfastly defended Father Caleb, while others pointed fingers. Among the latter was Edgar Nolan, a retired accountant and longtime skeptic of the church's financial dealings. "That chapel isn't as holy as it seems," Edgar declared. "There's money missing, and Eleanor, she was on to something." Olivia's attention shifted to the church's financial records. What initially appeared mundane soon revealed glaring irregularities. Large sums had been funneled to an untraceable account, and the signature authorizing these transfers was none other than Father Caleb's. Meanwhile, Hollowdale's local journalist Felix Greer began digging on his own. His articles hinted at secrets buried deep within the church's past, fanning the flames of public discord. "Faith is being weaponized," Felix wrote in one column, "and those who question it are paying the ultimate price." For Olivia, the investigation's scope expanded. This was no longer about Eleanor's murder alone. It was a battle against a legacy of deception. Yet, as leads emerged, so did obstacles. Witnesses recanted statements, crucial records vanished, and fear cloaked the truth in silence. Each step forward seemed to uncover more questions than answers. With tensions mounting, Olivia realized she was up against more than a murderer. She was unraveling a conspiracy that threatened to shatter Hollowdale's very identity. The pieces of the puzzle were coming together, but the picture they painted was darker than anyone could have imagined. Each revelation threatened to tear the town further apart, leaving Olivia determined to uncover the truth before it was too late. Detective Olivia Wren and her partner, Detective Liam Carter, stood outside the modest rectory where Father Caleb Mortimer resided. The priest's once revered image had become a source of suspicion, and his silence regarding Eleanor Beckett's murder only deepened the mystery. With a search warrant in hand, Olivia knocked on the door. The air was thick with tension as they waited. Caleb opened the door, his demeanor calm but strained. "Detectives, how can I help you?" he asked, his voice steady but his eyes betraying unease. Olivia's gaze lingered on the man's face, searching for cracks in his composed facade. She noticed subtle signs of fatigue, the slight droop of his shoulders, the faint redness in his eyes, clues that hinted at the internal storm he was weathering. Inside the rectory, Olivia and Liam meticulously examined every corner. Among stacks of religious texts and ledgers, they found a locked drawer in Caleb's desk. Caleb hesitated before handing over the key, his reluctance noted by both detectives. Inside the drawer, they uncovered a collection of letters and financial documents. Among them was correspondence between Caleb and a mysterious individual named Victor Hale. The letters hinted at financial dealings and mentioned Eleanor's name in a veiled context. "What can you tell us about Victor Hale?" Olivia asked, her tone sharp. Caleb's calm cracked momentarily. "He's an old acquaintance," he replied. "He has nothing to do with this." Olivia's instincts told her otherwise. The name Victor Hale was unfamiliar, but it was a thread worth pulling. The letters contained cryptic phrases such as ensuring discretion and handling unforeseen complications, which added layers to the growing intrigue. As they left the rectory, Olivia's mind raced with questions. Who was Victor Hale, and how was he connected to both Caleb and Eleanor? The answers felt tantalizingly close, yet frustratingly out of reach. With each step in the investigation, Olivia and Liam felt the weight of the town's expectations pressing down on them, and they knew that time was of the essence. The name Victor Hale led Olivia and Liam to a neighboring town, where Hale's name appeared in property records tied to a derelict warehouse. The building, shrouded in vines and decay, loomed like a sentinel over the edge of town. Its broken windows and rusted exterior told stories of abandonment, but the detectives knew better than to trust appearances. The detectives approached cautiously, their flashlights piercing the dim interior. Inside, the air was damp and heavy. The warehouse appeared abandoned, but signs of recent activity were evident. Scattered papers, extinguished candles, and a faint smell of burned incense hinted at something ritualistic. On a makeshift altar sat an open ledger, its pages filled with cryptic notes and financial transactions. Among the entries was Eleanor's name, scrawled alongside several dates. "This doesn't feel random," Liam muttered, flipping through the ledger. "These dates, they coincide with some of the discrepancies in the church's finances. And look here, references to accounts we haven't even uncovered yet." Olivia's eyes scanned the room, landing on a photograph pinned to a corkboard. The image showed Eleanor and Caleb standing together at a church event. Scribbled across the photo in red ink were the words, "Sins of the righteous will be revealed." The deliberate nature of the defacement suggested anger, perhaps even obsession. The discovery sent a chill through Olivia. Someone had been tracking both Eleanor and Caleb, and the intent seemed far from benign. As they photographed the evidence, a noise echoed from deeper within the warehouse. Drawing their weapons, the detectives moved toward the sound. A fleeting shadow disappeared into the darkness, leaving behind only questions. The warehouse, while rich with clues, offered no definitive answers. Who had been here, and what were they planning? Olivia's unease grew as she realized the case was spiraling into something far more sinister than she had anticipated. The threads connecting Eleanor, Caleb, and now Victor Hale were forming a web of deceit and danger, one that seemed poised to ensnare the entire town. Back at the station, the ledger found in the warehouse became the focal point of the investigation. Olivia and Liam pored over its contents, piecing together a story of financial corruption and manipulation. The entries revealed a network of shadowy transactions funneled through the church's accounts. At the center of it all was Caleb Mortimer, but Victor Hale's name appeared as a frequent recipient of the funds. "These aren't just donations," Liam observed. "This is laundering. Someone's using the church to cover their tracks." The implications were staggering. Caleb had not only betrayed his parishioners' trust, but had also entangled Eleanor in his schemes. The question remained, why had Eleanor's name appeared in the ledger, and what role had she played in uncovering the truth? Olivia's thoughts returned to the photograph found in the warehouse. The phrase, "Sins of the righteous will be revealed," felt like a warning or perhaps a justification for what had happened to Eleanor. Olivia knew they needed more answers, and Victor Hale was the key, but locating him was proving difficult. The man was a ghost, leaving behind only fragments of his existence. As Olivia and Liam prepared to issue a subpoena for Caleb's financial records, a call came in from Hollowdale's forensics lab. New evidence from the church had been analyzed. Fingerprints found on the iron cross matched a known associate of Hale's, a man named Eric Lowell. The revelation added another layer to the mystery. Who was Eric Lowell and how did he fit into this puzzle? In this moment, the investigation also looped back to Amelia Ross, the church secretary, who reluctantly shared additional insights. "Eleanor came to me days before her death," Amelia confessed. She was desperate, asking about the church's finances. She said she had evidence that could bring everything down. Amelia's admission underscored the mounting stakes. Eleanor's determination to expose the truth may have signed her death warrant. With Eric Lowell identified as a potential link to Victor Hale, Olivia and Liam tracked him to a seedy motel on the outskirts of a nearby town. The motel's neon sign buzzed faintly, casting an eerie glow over the parking lot. Inside, the air reeked of stale cigarettes and desperation. Lowell was unprepared when the detectives burst into his room. His wide eyes darted to the window as if considering an escape, but Olivia's stern voice froze him in place. "Eric Lowell, we need to talk," she said, flashing her badge. The room was sparse, with papers and a duffel bag strewn across the bed. Among the papers, Olivia spotted a photograph of Eleanor, her face circled in red ink. "Explain this," Olivia demanded, holding up the photo. Lowell's initial denial crumbled under pressure. "I didn't kill her," he stammered. "I was supposed to scare her, that's all. Hale said she was a problem, that she knew too much." Olivia's blood ran cold. "And Caleb Mortimer?" she pressed. Lowell hesitated before answering. "Hale and Caleb, they've been in this together for years. But Eleanor found out. She threatened to go public." The confession confirmed Olivia's worst fears. Eleanor's murder wasn't random. It was a desperate act to silence her. As they arrested Lowell, Olivia felt a surge of determination. The net was tightening around Hale and Caleb, and justice for Eleanor was within reach. Eric Lowell's arrest provided the breakthrough Olivia and Liam had been waiting for. With his confession and the evidence from the warehouse, they secured a warrant for Victor Hale's arrest. The operation to capture him was swift and precise. Hale was apprehended at a luxury apartment, his demeanor smug despite the handcuffs encircling his wrists. At the station, Hale's interrogation was tense. His arrogance was palpable as he denied any involvement in Eleanor's death. But when presented with the evidence, the ledger, the fingerprints, and Lowell's confession, His confidence wavered. "I didn't kill her," he spat. "That was Caleb's doing. I just handled the finances." The accusation shifted the focus back to Caleb Mortimer. Olivia and Liam knew they needed one final piece of evidence to tie him directly to the murder. As they reviewed the ledger again, Olivia noticed a peculiar entry, a payment to an anonymous account dated the day before Eleanor's death. Tracing the account led them to a chilling discovery. The funds had been used to hire Eric Lowell. Armed with this evidence, Olivia prepared to confront Caleb. The priest, once revered, now stood at the center of a conspiracy that had claimed Eleanor's life. As Olivia stepped into the rectory for what she knew would be their final confrontation, she steeled herself for the truth. The time for shadows was over, and Hollowdale's darkest secrets were about to come to light. Detective Olivia Wren and her partner Liam Carter entered the rectory with a mix of determination and trepidation. Caleb Mortimer, the once revered priest of Hollowdale, sat at his desk, his eyes fixed on an open Bible. The room was eerily quiet, the only sound the faint ticking of an old clock on the wall. "Father Caleb," Olivia began, her voice steady but firm, "we need to talk about Eleanor Beckett." Caleb's expression was unreadable as he closed the Bible and folded his hands. "I have nothing more to say, Detective," he replied. Olivia placed the ledger and photographs on the desk in front of him. "We have evidence tying you to financial fraud, and we know about your connection to Victor Hale. We also know about the payment made to Eric Lowell the day before Eleanor's murder. You've run out of places to hide." Caleb's composure faltered for the first time. His eyes darted to the ledger, then back to Olivia. "I never wanted her dead," he said, his voice trembling. "I only wanted her to stop digging. She was going to ruin everything." "So you hired Hale and Lowell to intimidate her?" Liam pressed. Caleb's silence was deafening. Olivia leaned closer, her tone softening. "Eleanor didn't deserve this. She believed in you, Caleb. You could have come clean. But instead, you let greed and fear take over." Tears welled in Caleb's eyes. I didn't know they'd kill her. It wasn't supposed to happen this way." With his confession recorded, Caleb was placed under arrest. As he was escorted out of the rectory, the townspeople gathered outside. The man they had trusted for years was now exposed as a key player in a web of corruption and murder. Olivia watched as the facade of Hollowdale's sanctity crumbled, knowing the hardest part was yet to come, presenting the full story to the court. Caleb's fall from grace had shattered the community's trust in its institutions. The once revered priest now stood as a symbol of betrayal. Olivia's mind raced with thoughts of Eleanor's unwavering courage, the sacrifices made to uncover the truth, and the painstaking steps that led to this moment. For Olivia, this arrest was a bittersweet victory. The arrest of Caleb Mortimer sent shockwaves through Hollowdale. For Detective Olivia Wren and Liam Carter, the work was far from over. With Caleb's confession and the evidence against him, they now faced the monumental task of building an airtight case for trial. Every detail had to be meticulously examined, and every piece of evidence needed to fit perfectly. The prosecution team, led by Assistant District Attorney Rachel Carter, met with the detectives to strategize. "We need to ensure the jury sees the full picture," Rachel said, spreading out crime scene photos, financial records, and statements on the conference table. "This isn't just about Eleanor Beckett's murder. It's about the betrayal of an entire community." Olivia nodded, her gaze lingering on a photograph of Eleanor. "We have his confession and the financial records. What we need is to connect the dots for the jury, to show how his actions directly led to her death." The detectives revisited the evidence from the warehouse, including the photograph with the ominous phrase, "Sins of the righteous will be revealed." Forensic analysis confirmed that the handwriting matched Victor Hale's. Combined with Eric Lowell's testimony, the prosecution's narrative began to solidify. "Hale will be a tough witness," Rachel noted. "He's likely to deflect blame and minimize his role." Olivia frowned. "We'll need to anticipate that and counter it with undeniable facts. The jury needs to see Caleb for who he really is." As the trial date approached, Olivia and Liam worked tirelessly to ensure no detail was overlooked. They interviewed parishioners, traced additional financial transactions, and consulted experts to understand the psychological manipulation Caleb had employed. The weight of responsibility pressed heavily on them, but they were determined to seek justice for Eleanor and the community she had loved. The trial preparation became a testament to their dedication. Every late night spent poring over documents, every difficult conversation with grieving loved ones, and every strategic decision brought them closer to ensuring justice was served. Rachel's confidence in her team grew as the pieces of the case came together. The courtroom buzzed with quiet tension as the trial of Caleb Mortimer began. Reporters lined the benches, their pens poised to capture every word. The townspeople of Hollowdale filled the gallery, their faces a mixture of anger, betrayal, and disbelief. Rachel Carter stood to deliver the opening statement. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this case is about trust, a trust that was broken in the most horrific way. Caleb Mortimer used his position of authority to commit acts of deceit, corruption, and ultimately, murder. The prosecution's case was methodically presented. Financial experts testified about the discrepancies in the church's accounts, linking Caleb to illicit transactions. Eric Lowell's testimony was particularly damning as he described the chain of events leading to Eleanor's death. Hale said she was a threat, Lowell stated, his voice trembling. I was supposed to scare her, but things got out of hand. Caleb knew what was happening. He didn't stop it. The defense attempted to paint Caleb as a man who had been manipulated by Victor Hale, but the evidence was overwhelming. Olivia's testimony about the investigation's findings added weight to the prosecution's argument. This was not an isolated incident, she told the jury. This was a calculated effort to silence a woman who sought the truth. As the trial progressed, the community's division became palpable. Some parishioners continued to support Caleb, unable to reconcile the evidence with their perception of him. Others felt vindicated, their doubts about the church's sanctity finally validated. For Hollowdale, this trial wasn't just about one man's guilt. It was about confronting the town's collective failure to question authority. After weeks of testimony and deliberation, the jury reached a verdict. The courtroom was silent as the foreperson stood. We find the defendant, Caleb Mortimer, guilty on all charges. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the gallery. Caleb remained stoic, his expression unreadable. Rachel Carter nodded in quiet triumph as the judge announced the sentence: life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Outside the courthouse, Olivia and Liam stood among a throng of reporters. This case wasn't just about Eleanor Beckett, Olivia said into the microphones. It was about accountability. It was about ensuring that no one is above the law. Hollowdale's residents dispersed, grappling with the implications of the trial. The once revered Caleb Mortimer was now a symbol of betrayal, his actions a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind even the most trusted facades. For Olivia, the verdict marked the culmination of months of relentless effort. Yet, it also underscored the fragility of trust and the devastating consequences of unchecked power. Caleb's fall served as a warning to those who abused authority, a testament to the strength of those who fought for justice. In the weeks following the trial, Hollowdale began the slow process of healing. St. Elias Chapel remained closed, its doors barred as the town debated its future. Some called for the church to be repurposed, while others believed it should stand as a somber reminder of the tragedy. Olivia and Liam returned to their routines, though the case lingered in their minds. We did the right thing, Liam said one evening, as they reviewed another case. But it's hard not to think about how many lives were shattered. Olivia nodded. Eleanor deserved justice, and we gave her that. But you're right. There's a lot of healing that needs to happen. Eleanor's friends and family gathered for a memorial service, planting a garden in her honor near the town square. The vibrant flowers served as a symbol of resilience and hope, a reminder that even in the darkest times, life could bloom anew. For Hollowdale, the path forward was uncertain. Trust would take years to rebuild, and the scars of the past would never fully fade. But as the town came together to honor Eleanor's legacy, there was a sense of unity, a shared determination to ensure such a tragedy would never happen again. Olivia stood at the edge of the garden, her heart heavy yet hopeful. Rest in peace, Eleanor, she whispered. You won. As the dust settles on the haunting case of Eleanor Beckett, one truth becomes painfully clear. Even in the most serene and picturesque towns, shadows linger, and secrets fester. Hollowdale may have found justice for Eleanor, but the scars left behind will take years to heal. Trust has been shattered, lives irrevocably altered, and a once thriving community now grapples with the echoes of its darkest hour. Detective Olivia Wren's relentless pursuit of the truth reminds us that justice doesn't come easily. It's a battle fought against deception, fear, and the lengths people will go to protect their lies. Her unwavering determination ensured that Eleanor's voice was not silenced, that her story would be told, and that her killers would face the consequences of their actions. Here at Silent Crime Case, we hope this chilling tale serves as a stark reminder that the truth always finds a way to surface, no matter how deeply it's buried. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the shadows of Hollowdale, a town forever marked by the tragedy within its chapel walls. If you found this story as gripping and thought-provoking as we did, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Share your thoughts on this case, and let us know what mysteries you'd like us to unravel next. Together, we'll continue to bring light to the silent crimes that cry out for justice. Until next time, stay vigilant and remember, in the quietest places, the loudest secrets often hide. This is Silent Crime Case. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next investigation.